girl, you're putting a syringe and drugs in the back of a toilet. But in my mind, like it's okay because it's in a bag, in a case, in a bag, so it's fine. What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. If you are new, hi, my name is Jess. I'm a recovering addict who served time in prison. My whole life story is in the description box down below. If you want to follow me on any other social media platforms, TikTok, Patreon, that's only $2, Instagram, all of that's down below. And we also have a second channel. It's right here. That is my vlog channel. You can see me doing the random things that I do in life over there. Before we get started with today's video, Jordan sent me this. This is his memoir. It's called One Hit Away. I will link this down below. Jordan, thank you so much for sending this to me and also signing it. It's absolutely amazing. I can't wait to read it, and congratulations on your success and your sobriety. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So today's video is going to be my old stash spots. Now, this is not an original idea. I actually hijacked this idea from my good friends Kareema, After Addiction, and Jen Cutting. Their channels are linked down below, and I've been saving their videos because I didn't want to watch them and then unintentionally copy them. So as soon as I'm done filming this, I'm gonna go watch their videos to see if we have similar places of like hiding our stuff. I have been in long-term recovery for 9 years now, but for a long time I was not. I was an active user and I struggled with substance abuse disorder for a very long time, almost 10 years. So the number one place that I used to hide my substances, say that 5 times fast, was in things that looked like regular things. What the hell am I talking about? So I would get things with false bottoms, like an Arizona tea can. And what I would do is, you could find these at like head shops where you'd get a can of Arizona tea, but really the bottom unscrews and the whole thing is a canister. So I would keep Arizona teas in my fridge, like real ones that you drink, and then I would tuck a couple of cans full of stuff in that refrigerator. And this has actually been overlooked dozens of times by parole or cops. Those search warrants hit a little different, but no one has ever found it in my Arizona tea cans because the key is not just keeping it on a shelf, because like, why would you have a tea on a shelf? The key was keeping it in a place where you would actually find an Arizona tea and then keeping real teas around it. So I'd have like a 12 pack, but like 2 or 3 of those 12 cans were fake cans. So that's something that I did. I also would keep it in a WD-40 can. This is a fake WD-40 can, and they make them, they look exactly like a real WD-40 can, except the bottom unscrews and it's a hollow inside, and I would hide things in there. I'd keep that in my car. Horrible idea, because if you get pulled over, peace if they figure it out. So that was really like the number one place where I would hide my stuff, was in items that looked like different items. Now, as far as keeping drugs on my person, there was 3 main places where I would keep substances on my person. And the first one, you're gonna be like, well, duh, my bra. I'd hide something in my bra. I'd even hide syringes in my bra and whatever I needed in my bra. Which, listen, I've had breast augmentation surgery, but back in the day, I did not have breasts, really. So I'm just saying, that's a freaking talent. So thank you, padded bras, for old me and my criminal ways. But another place where I would keep a small amount is in my gauges. These are very small. I used to have much bigger gauges than this, and I would get some that unscrew, and I could keep a gram or 2 in my gauges. That was actually a trick I picked up from someone else, but I had big gauges. They're about that big, and I would just keep as much as I could fit in both of my gauges at a time. If I was going somewhere on a bus ride or a long car ride or whatever the situation was, I would always keep stuff in my gauges, which was the whole reason why I had gauges to begin with. Also, they looked cool, but that was really one of the main reasons. I saw someone do that one time and I was like, oh, well, guess I'm stretching my ears. Can I just pause here and say I am so grateful that I no longer have to think this way. I no longer have to go like, oh, where am I gonna hide this stuff so I don't get sick? Like, that took up 80% of my life. figuring out when my re-ups would come, how much I had to sell so that I could pay for whatever I was just given, and how I could keep myself from being sick and how I could keep other people around me from not getting sick. It was a constant source of stress and tension. Where can I hide my stuff? How can I get this through this section? Or I'm going to Port Authority Manhattan, hope no one stops me. Like, it was a constant source of stress and tension. And for whatever reason, I thought that that life was normal. I thought that I was okay. I thought that everyone not in my world was somehow missing out, but every day can't be a party. And I really just had such a flawed mentality about life, and I would talk negatively about people that were sober because they didn't understand me. And I never even wanted to be around anyone that was sober because of the disconnect there. And I was just really sick for a really long time. Okay. So the third place that I would hide substances, especially wax bags of H, I would cut a little slit in my jeans right behind where the button is, you know, where you button your pants, the inseam. I would cut that. There's about a 2-inch seam of material, and I would take wax bags of dope and I would slide them in there. That way it's not in my pockets, it's not on my bra, like it's in my inseam of my pants. And I did that for a really long time too. I was also arrested with dope in the inseam of my pants, and I was arrested by my parole officer at the time, and I was taken to the jail, and I was getting stripped out and changed into jail clothes, and I distracted the correctional officer, and I was able to get that dope from that inseam. I had it in my hand for a while after I was in the holding tank, and instead of flushing it down the toilet like I thought I was gonna do, I just couldn't bring myself to flush it down the toilet. I just couldn't. I was so sick that I knew I was about to detox and it was about to be really difficult. And at that time, no jail that I had ever heard of gave any inmate access to medically assisted treatment or any kind of medical help to detox. I know a lot of jails do that now, but that was never my experience. So I took the risk, and it's a really horrible risk that I felt as though I had to take. So I had it in my hand, and she's changing me out, and I made her feel uncomfortable, and I said some things about my body, and I was very inappropriate and weird, and she looked away for just a second, but it was long enough to put it in my pocket of this jumpsuit I had to wear. I was taken back to the pod, and within a few hours that was gone, and I wasn't even able to wean myself out like I told myself I would. And I think a huge part about addiction is really just us lying to ourselves. Like, oh, I'm gonna stop if it gets bad, or I would never get that sick, or I would never get that addicted, or I can stop anytime I want, or I'm not as bad as that addict over here. So half of my life was just consumed with lying to myself about my situation or about how I'm gonna handle things or what have you. So that was really unfortunate. Okay, another place that I used to hide things, I would hide drugs here if I was in hotels. So I was on Mag Crew for a long time. It is a door-to-door traveling sales company, and we knocked doors and we sold magazine subscriptions, so ESPN, Maxim, and all that stuff. And I had to share a room with other girls, and I didn't want them finding my stuff because hard drugs were completely banned on Mag Crew. It was okay to smoke some green, it was okay to drink, it was not okay to do anything I was doing. And I knew that, so I had a case that I would keep in a bag, and I would put it in the back of the toilet because who's gonna look in the back of the toilet? Now think just for a second. Girl, you're putting a syringe and drugs in the back of a toilet, but in my mind, like it's okay because it's in a bag, in a case, in a bag, so it's fine. What? But I thought it was clever and ingenious to do that because who's gonna look there? A lot of times people will go in your room and look like under your mattress or whatever. That's a horrible hiding place, in my personal opinion. So yeah, the back of the toilet. Good times, good times. I had a magnetic metal container with a magnet on the bottom of it, and it was a hiding place that you're supposed to hide keys in, and you'd like keep it under an air conditioning unit. So I would keep my stash underneath my air conditioning unit outside of whatever apartment I was in at the time, and no one ever found it there. No one ever looked there. And I don't even remember where I found that. I think I had seen it at some store or whatever, but it was specifically designed for keys. Like if you lock, your keys inside, or you forget your key and you lock the door, that's where you would put the spare key. And when I saw that, I was like, this is genius for where I'm gonna hide my stuff. So I would keep, a few grams at a time, whatever I needed to keep outside under my air conditioning unit. And at any given time, I had all these weird little stash spots all around the freaking house. And it's just like, I actually started hiding things as a teenager from my parents, and I got really good at hiding stuff. When you are in active addiction, you'll do anything to protect your addiction and hide what you're doing from others and protect your drugs, and it's just a really awful life that I'm so glad I'm free of now. Another place that I would hide things is behind pictures, and that was mostly money. I would tape it to the back of a picture frame that was hanging on the wall or certain things like that, just to keep it, you know, away from my wallet, or you know what I mean? I did have lock boxes and safes and stuff like that I would keep things in, but I want to talk about like the obscure places that I would hide things. So I definitely would take things off the wall and tape things behind picture frames. I did just mention lock boxes, plural. So what I would do is I wouldn't hide all my money in one place. And that's the crazy thing. Like, yes, I made money selling dope. That money does not come easy. Like, it comes in easy, but then you spend your whole life hiding it and being afraid that people are gonna find it and steal it from you, and you can't take it to a bank. Like, I don't care how much money you can make doing that, it is never worth it because your whole lifestyle changes. It's a freaking stressful thing and it will eat you alive. So yeah, maybe I earned some money, but I also earned insomnia and PTSD and anxiety and stress, and I'm just trying to figure out ways to hide money. Like, that's not the life that I ever want to live, ever. You know, I thought growing up poor, that was the worst thing that could happen because I couldn't even afford shoes and my shoes had holes in them and I couldn't afford clothes. Let me tell you something. The worst thing after living all of the things that I've lived is not having peace of mind with your own property. Knowing that at any time the cops could just come in and take all your stuff, that is heavy and that weighs on you, and that lifestyle is not freaking worth it. It's not. You'll lose it just as fast as you earn it. So what I would do is I would keep lock boxes around the house. You know, like for some reason thinking like, oh, as long as, you know, if someone comes in, they steal one lockbox, at least I got another lockbox of money. Like, that was my thought process. And I had a drop ceiling in a lot of places that I was at, so like I could lift up the tiles. So I would put lock boxes in my ceiling. This was also really stupid for me to do because my memory is trash. I probably left money in apartments I used to live in. So if you're living in an apartment I used to live in, check the ceiling because there might be money there. So I feel like that's all the places that I can remember where I used to hide things. But again, that was my whole life and it was so awful and so heavy, and I never got a good night's sleep in that world, you know? And the longer I stayed in it, the more I resented it and hated myself for building a life that I just wanted to escape from. And in the depths of my addiction, it got so bad that I almost took my own life because I didn't see a way out. So as laid back as this video might seem, I just want you to know that if you are still in that life and you think that you can't get out, you're wrong. You absolutely can. Don't let people try to pull you back in. I was pulled back into that world so many times. I relapsed over a dozen times and I felt as though I wasn't strong enough. But if I got out of that life and if I got sober, there is no reason why you can't. I'm not special, I'm not better, I'm not stronger. I just decided to be done, and I decided to fight just as hard for my sobriety as I fought to be in active addiction. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober, whatever that looks like to you, because there is no wrong way to recover. And I will see you in my next one. Another place that I would hide things is I had a magnetic metal container. Magnetic metal container. I can't even talk today.